painful cuts. I don't like to do it. I love the university. I went there. I don't like tuition increases. But we can only live with the money we're given. And as a matter of fact, if the taxes go down, the cuts will be doubled. So that's where we are. It's not easy, but I didn't come here to try to put sugar and syrup on the problem. I'm telling you the way it is, and the way it is, it's either 12.5 billion in cuts or 25 billion. That's the way. I'm going to try to make it as painless as possible.
Governor, business groups like this have expressed concern about regulatory reform. You mentioned pension reform. What are you doing? What did you say to them today to reassure them that these tax extensions are not going to hurt California business and deepen unemployment?
Well, it didn't hurt before. And by the way, this whole thing about taxes, the Bush tax cuts did not stop the greatest recession in American history since the Depression. So we have to take into account that economies are complicated things. And merely extending what we have, I don't think will in any way slow down the growth that we see happening in the economy. And as far as regulatory relief, they did give me some suggestions, whether it's CEQA or the air or the water board. There's lots of issues, and I'm taking a very active role in both considering legal changes and moving stuff through the state priorities.
And the LA Chamber suggested 3-year extensions, not 5. Is that something that the Bay Area Council is?
I don't think they put a limit on it. I think they support the 5. The trouble with 3 is we're doing realignment. It takes a few years to really get the realignment, taking welfare and moving to the local level. It takes time, and also 5 years allows the economy to return, which is very important to the whole process. So I think 3 is a little short. Although I understand why they ask.
Would you or Mr. Wonderman address? Would you or Mr. Wonderman address some concerns that I think the council had over the elimination of redevelopment agencies and the impact that might have on Bay Area businesses and other businesses?
Okay, well I can address that. Redevelopment, like aid to the poor families or the university, it's all good. But the fact is that the tax money that was directed to redevelopment was a fraction of what it is today. And it has grown way beyond the original creators of redevelopment. And when the schools are hurting, when the county hospitals and the most vulnerable are seeing reductions in what is needed, this is a source of local revenue to support local government activity. And that's why I think it's reasonable, although there will be costs, like there are at the university, like there is everywhere else. This is not a painless budget. It's very tough, and that's one of the tough areas.
Governor Brown, have you considered cutting the prisons more than you did in your initial proposals?
Well, we're going to cut $1 billion out of prison, but it's going to take probably 2.5 to 3 years to get there. But we are looking at reducing the intake of individuals. The number of individuals that otherwise go to state prison are going to be handled at the local level, not only in jail, but with alternative sanctions that I think can be very creative and very productive in reducing recidivism. And so I would say we are reducing the prisons, but we can't do it overnight. So that's why we'll look, and by the way, it will look like the prisons aren't being reduced this much because the legislature always cuts the prisons in an unrealistic way. They make an unallocated reduction, like they did 2 years ago, of $800 million, but that couldn't be done unless you have people released. Well, to get people either out of prison or not to go there, you have to work with the legislature, with the sheriffs, with the DAs, and with the police. I'm doing it. And so I'm taking a comprehensive approach to actually reducing our prison population and protecting public safety. And that's another, third rail of politics that I'm encountering and I'm dealing with, and I think we're going to be successful.
Have you personally met with Republicans who you believe you might
yes, yes, I am. I meet with them all the time.
The ones that the Wall Street Journal identified?
I don't read the Wall Street Journal, so I don't know.
It
hasn't appeared in the B or the Chronicle, so I have no idea.
So Bill Emerson,
well, I'm not going to blow their cover. It seems to be, you know, there was a story in the Bible, in the New Testament. There was a guy named Nicodemus, and he could only visit Jesus at night because he was kind of ashamed, didn't want anybody to know about it. Well, that's kind of where we are now. And working with possible tax extensions.
So
They can only come under the cover of darkness.
So will you be spending the weekend in Sacramento?
What?
Will you be spending the weekend in Sacramento? Meeting with
I'll be there Sunday.
Do you have a tax question?
To follow up Jack's question on Republicans, Governor Northwest said to call this week your efforts pathetic to win over Republicans and said when you talked about breaking your Jesuit vows and sometimes you have to break them, the no tax pledge, you're encouraging them to lie to their constituents.
Well, in many areas, Mr. Northwest is wrong. I never talked about breaking vows, but I didn't break vows. I was dispensed from my vows. What I said is I could create a process of dispensation for those people who took the pledge. First of all, I did not take a pledge to deny the people the right to vote. And secondly, for Northwest, this fellow who lives over there in Washington, to say that the people of California have to do what he wants, otherwise he'll feel bad. He didn't put this on his feelings. I think is pathetic itself, and it's highly undemocratic. And I think ultimately the people of California will repudiate the effort of very powerful outsiders trying to dictate to the people of this state.
Governor, do you anticipate losing Democratic votes if you make certain changes to pensions or regulations?
Yes, but we don't want to lose too many that we don't get on the ballot, and that is the problem. The more the budget tilts to the Republicans, the more the Democrats come off the bill. The more we satisfy the Democrats, the less chance we have of getting the Republicans. So that's the art of politics, is to find that little zone that will attract enough votes that we reach 2/3. And that's where we're not yet, but where I believe we're going to be in the next
One more burning question.
On redevelopment, do you feel that the redevelopment does more to enrich developers than it does to help communities and low-income California?
I think redevelopment does a lot of things, and we're going to return, and we have to get back to core services, which are schools, police, and taking care of the most vulnerable. There are other tools. We have Belarus. There's a number of ways, and we're going to propose a constitutional amendment to help local communities create economic development zones. That will come not this June, but later.
Did you talk about the constitutional provision and the constitutional amendment?
We did not. We talked
If
about
they
the budget.
succeed with the constitutional convention, I will be there.
We hope we won't need a constitutional convention because we have Governor Brown. The key to success in California is getting the two sides in the legislature to work together with the governor in a productive way and dealing with the real issues. And so, yes, we have structural problems, and those need to be dealt with as part of the package. But the key problem we've been facing is inertia in the state capital to deal with reality. With Jerry Brown coming in and taking over as governor, he's actually making people face that reality. We find it refreshing, and we would certainly put a pause on any effort to go to a major restructuring of the state. And the opportunity is to get it fixed in this budget cycle and get things going. So right now, we're focused on the budget and some key issues where we think we can get things turned around working with the governor and his team.
Okay, thank you very much.